Thank you for your interest in the William Hawrelak Park Rehabilitation Project. This video will provide a summary of the rehabilitation project. We will discuss what work will be done, also known as the project scope, and how the work will be done. William Hawrelak Park, which opened in 1964, was identified as a reinvestment priority based on the city's infrastructure asset management policy. Condition assessments of the infrastructure revealed that much of it has reached the end of its life cycle and requires significant repairs or rehabilitation. Those assessments, along with the experience of users, festivals, and operators, guided the prioritization of this project and the definition of the project scope. The rehabilitation project will maximize the life of the facilities, maintain a safe and accessible environment, meet new legislative requirements, align with city policies, and ensure the park continues to meet the current and future service needs of citizens. The city was intentional with the approach to this park renewal given the prominence and importance of this park. There are many complexities to this project. Looking at the details will provide an understanding of how the scopes of work are interrelated. Since the development of the Horlack Park Capital Investment Plan, a significant amount of time has been invested with close to 100 internal and external stakeholders. A prime stakeholders group included Edmonton Heritage Festival, Silver Skate Festival, World Triathlon Series, Edmonton Federation of Community Leagues, and all the annual event groups who use the Heritage Amphitheater. This approach provided an opportunity to do what's best for the park, not only for today, but for years to come. The plan also provided a framework for planning and design of the park, as do city policies, including accessibility, GBA, sustainability, Historical Resources Act, safety and security, River Valley bylaw, and more. The scopes of work define what is to be done in this project. We have sorted this into three groupings, with each having its own set of stakeholders. These groupings are underground, facilities, and open spaces, transportation, and environmental. Let's start with the underground. This map outlines the existing utilities throughout the park. Services were installed in the 1960s and have surpassed their 50-year design life. Many are at the risk of failure. As you can see, the utilities span the entire site, connecting the various amenities to gas, power, data, water, storm, and sanitary, as well as connecting the lake to the nearby river. This project includes a combination of abandonment, removal, replacement, and rerouting of infrastructure. Together, these total 9.3 kilometers and require deep trenching to support construction. Another layer of the underground renewal work is the irrigation system. Irrigation is important in a heavily used park to ensure the resilience of the landscape. The system spans the entire park and must be replaced to meet provincial regulations for stormwater reuse. Drainage throughout the park will also be addressed to deal with the ponding issues reflected by the red highlights on this map. Approximately 15 hectares of turf remediation is required. This represents more than 50% of the entire site. The second grouping in the scope of work is open spaces, transportation, and environment. The ring road currently serves as the means for vehicles to circulate, yet it also functions as a route for pedestrians, runners, and cyclists. Improving safety on the roadway was identified as the top priority during engagement. This will be done with the addition of a shared use path. The road itself will be renewed, which includes the replacement of the base, curbing, and resurfacing to standards that support the overall needs of the park. We will be narrowing the road to avoid sensitive habitat and reconfiguring parking to maintain the total number of available stalls. Two options for paths and trails were developed in consultation with prime stakeholders with careful consideration for their event laydown requirements. These options were presented to the public for feedback. This feedback was combined with an analysis of factors such as topography, seasonal requirements, tree impacts, and environmental assessment, and the option for routes inside the park road was selected. The new pathways are intended to be cleared of snow in the winter and designed with consideration for minimizing the impact on cross country ski trails. Part of the circulation route includes an enhanced lakefront walk that connects the main pavilion, boathouse, and community league plaza. Currently, there are no pathway connections between these amenities. A new accessible walkway will add to the user experience. Also included is the addition of a permanent dock at the boathouse to improve water access. The existing playground will be renewed with a small expansion to take advantage of the hill and berm topography for play potential. Hawrelak Lake is a beloved feature of the park, yet due to high phosphorus levels, water quality issues continue to be a topic of interest. To improve the water quality, this project will include dredging the lake and the addition of a vegetative buffer along the shoreline to discourage geese. The third grouping in the scope of work is facilities. The facilities on site include the main pavilion, three washroom shelters, heritage amphitheater, pump house, and the park service yard. The pavilions were designed in 1966 and are examples of organic modernist architecture. The main pavilion and washroom shelters are in the process of being added to the inventory of municipal historic resources. The rehabilitation will be completed with full consideration and respect of the character defining elements of these facilities. The main pavilion will see the renewal of mechanical and electrical elements and a reconfiguration of spaces to improve functionality, including direct outdoor access for skate rentals and kitchen area renovations to address safety. Washroom rehabilitation includes integration of gender inclusive accessibility and SEPTED requirements, as well as necessary upgrades to allow winter use. Built in the 1980s, the Heritage Amphitheatre is Western Canada's largest outdoor amphitheatre. In addition to the renewal scopes of work, additional improvements will be made based on engagement with prime stakeholders. These include enhancements to the front entryway with integration of bike parking and seating, green room reconfiguration, accessibility upgrades, theater seating replacement, and conversion to gender inclusive public washrooms. Finally, a functional program was completed to identify the renewal requirements that would allow the service yard to operate more efficiently. Operational needs have grown and changed over the years, and the current service yard facilities are overcrowded. Existing storage and operations will be optimized while at the same time accommodating the future acquisition of equipment. The improvements also provide a direct access point for the Heritage Festival storage. In summary, the rehabilitation work of this project spans all areas of the park and ranges from deep underground utilities to all park facilities and open spaces. Now that we've reviewed what the project work involves, we will cover how the rehabilitation project will be conducted. This will include a few relevant case studies, a high level overview of the construction process, and a summary of the findings related to the recommended construction staging. Case studies offer insights and learnings from others as well as our own experiences. The first case study is the Great Lawn in New York City's Central Park. This park area is approximately 55 acres and shares many common amenities and features to that of Hawrelak Park. It is programmed with a mix of active and passive recreation activities and includes various utilities to support its use as well. This site was also closed for a period of 2 years to facilitate a major refurbishment, including underground infrastructure. The second case study is the recently completed Fort Edmonton Park. This project was also a composite project with a mix of underground utilities and building construction similar to what is proposed in Hawrelak Park. Beyond the scope similarities, it does share other similarities such as its river valley location, as well as considerations for festivals and special events. The Fort Edmonton Park project was originally planned with a 2 year closure for gated patrons only. Special events were initially planned to be open, however, after the first year, it became incredibly difficult as the user experience was so encumbered that a decision was ultimately made to close special events. Next, we'll discuss the major phases of construction planned to occur. The first step involves transitioning the site to create a safe working space and stage construction. Signage and fencing will be erected around the site boundaries. Site trailers, equipment, and materials will be mobilized. Temporary utilities, including water, sanitary, and power, will be installed. Construction then moves into the next phase, which includes removal, demolition, and construction of underground utilities. This includes the removal of existing utilities, demolition of roads, draining and dredging the water body, and construction of storm and sanitary, or what is commonly referred to as deep utilities. Risks with this work are weather related. Work must also be done within the approved windows provided by the provincial and federal permits for working with fish habitat in the river and avoiding disrupting migratory birds and nesting periods. This phase is the most disruptive and must be done first. This work involves heavy equipment and open excavations and spans across all areas of the park. Underground utilities require a significant amount of space to undertake the trench and backfill activities. A typical 3 to 4 meter deep pipe installation can require up to 16 to 20-meter width in working space when taking into account both the trench dimensions with safe cutback slopes as well as the space for a spoil pile to stage the excavated material. Following the deep utility work is the shallow utilities. These are located within the first meter of depth and include irrigation, power, and communications. This includes installations of all water lines, power, and telecommunications within the park. It also includes placement of transformers, primary distribution connections, and meter connections at all facilities. The next phase is the surface level of the park infrastructure. This includes the roads, parking lots, trails, and sidewalks. Activities in this phase are weather and seasonally dependent. This phase includes earth moving, gravel placement and compaction, concrete placement, finishing and curing, placing asphalt pavement and compaction, and lane markings and signage. The next phase, facility construction, is expected to overlap with the previous phases and where we take advantage of the schedule benefits of the full closure. Facility construction doesn't have the same weather dependencies and can occur year round. The facility work is spread out about numerous facility locations within the park and is not concentrated in any one specific area. To achieve the timelines within the planned closure, work will occur simultaneously at different facilities. The last phase of the project includes the final grading and landscaping. While not the most complex or costly in terms of scope, it represents some of the highest risk work to make this a successful project. It is seasonally dependent and requires adequate time for establishment prior to heavy public use. This phase is expected to occur over the third year of closure, where we have sufficient time to allow for grass and landscaping to take root with limited use or traffic to ensure long term success. This will also include the monitoring of the Hawrelak water body to ensure the water quality is balanced from an ecological perspective. This project, like all projects, will include a 1 year warranty period to allow sufficient time to proof out the work and address any possible workmanship or quality issues or concerns that may arise. The project team, including city staff and external advisors such as architects, engineers, and a construction manager, have spent considerable effort evaluating the optimal approach, taking into account multiple perspectives heard. A full closure for up to a duration of 3 years is the best option for this project. This would start in spring 2023 after the Silver Skate Festival. This was not an easy decision. An extensive team of internal and external experts were consulted along with primary stakeholders and park users. Many items were considered through the process. First was the festival accommodations. We recognize that this has largely been the most contentious of the considerations. A phased approach would have meant having ongoing encumbered operations over an extended period of years and was not considered a desirable option either. We considered complexity and risk. A full closure reduces the overall complexity and risk significantly. The project is 3 years compared to 7 to 10 years. We considered the construction schedule. Full closure allows us the greatest opportunity to stack activities concurrently. This overlapping of activities helps accelerate the timelines and creates further agility. We considered cost. A full closure provides greater assurances of the total cost of the project. It will be less susceptible to inflation and market pressures as it's completed faster. There is also expected to be less temporary work that otherwise would be required when proceeding in a staged or phased approach. We considered user experience. Our objective will be to maintain active trail detours around the park once it's fully closed to ensure that users can traverse the River Valley Trail system. Having consistent access and circulation around the area will aid users. We considered park operations. Addressing the full scope of work under a total closure allows for accelerated benefits contributing to enhanced serviceability and reliability. In summary, a full closure up to 3 years was the best approach for the rehabilitation project. We understand well the full impacts of the park closure to citizens, event organizers, and city staff as a whole. In Hawrelak Park, there can be up to 50 small to medium sized events annually. The Heritage Amphitheater also hosts a number of festivals and events. There are also two signature festivals, one signature sporting event, and three Heritage Amphitheater festivals that will require relocation and support. Many of these smaller festivals and events will be relocated throughout the river valley during rehabilitation. The city is working with all organizations on their future event plans. The rehabilitation project will begin in spring 2023 after the Silver Skate Festival. The project webpage will have regular updates throughout the project.